How's it going, guys? This is the Core 3 from FightingGamesOnline.info, and I am back with another first look. As I mentioned in my last first look, Bandai Namco had an open beta for the Gundam Versus game, which is coming to the PlayStation 4, and they did that Labor Day weekend. Now, before I start talking about the game, I have to actually give an apology. I did not spend as much time as I intended to with this game. I got distracted by another game, to be honest. And so the game footage is not quite as much as I had before in the past. So I just kind of just wanted to preface that. So I want to just look back at the Gundam Versus series history, talk about the game a little bit, and of course give my experience online. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, for those that don't know, Gundam is actually based on an anime, and the anime originally started in 1980. Now, it did get a lot of popularity, and since then there have been many different sagas since the original. My first introduction to the series was actually Gundam Wing, which was an anime that came on Cartoon Network. Now, of course, I'm not going to get too deep into the anime. If you would like to find out more about it, I definitely recommend you go to myanimelist.net. It's a great website, carrying a lot of information about the Gundam series, so definitely go there and check it out. Now, as far as the video game series itself, there have been a ton of Gundam video games that have come out over the years, but there was the one in particular, of course, known as the Gundam Versus series. Now, the Versus series seems to date about around the time of the early 2000s, with the first one being Federation versus Xeon. Now, what's really interesting about this is that it was developed by Capcom, and that it started out in the arcades and then it moved to console after that. My first knowledge about the series was actually Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme Versus, which actually was developed in-house by Namco Bandai, and it was also exclusive on the PS3. Now, one of the reasons that I know about this title in particular is because it gets played a lot competitively by the fighting game community, even to the point that it was featured at the Anime Evo last year. Now, the latest title, named Gundam Versus, was announced back in September of 2016. At the time, there was a teaser trailer that came out, and they were celebrating their 15th anniversary, and it showed a bit of each game from the series before leading up to this title. From the beginning, we knew that it was coming to the PlayStation 4, but we weren't quite sure, what region it would be coming out for. Fortunately for us, we did get an announcement that it would be coming west. Now, what's interesting about this is that the series had not come out west since 2005. The only way that you can get it is you had to import it in order to play. Now, they're bringing this title to the PS4 in a very big way. This game is going to feature over 100 Gundam, and I can tell you, even after I played the beta, that they were still releasing new Gundams, just announcing them very frequently, almost every week. They also upped the ante by making it 3 versus 3, where traditionally it was actually 2 versus 2. With that being said, you're still going to be able to do 1 versus 1 and 2 versus 2 modes as well, so it's just giving you a lot more options. Alright, so let's go ahead and just get into the beta, and let's talk about the design a bit. I can certainly say without a doubt that the Gundam Versus series is definitely getting the PlayStation 4 makeover. You definitely have all your resolution bells and whistles, but the textures seem to mainly focus on the backgrounds. Now, after I mentioned the anime, you might be asking why there is no cel shading, and I do believe there is a reason that they're taking this route. The Mobile Suit Gundam series actually wasn't doing as well as an anime, and it actually grew in popularity after they started creating toys, which were made by Bandai. So based on that, I believe that's kind of the look that they're trying to go for, so the more, toy modelish look, and that kind of makes sense to me. Now, the open beta definitely confirms that there are going to be a lot of Gundam in this game. They seem to have basically a few Gundam selected from each of the sagas, and then there's also the what you call the Striker Gundam, which work as assist, that you can also select from as well. One of the features that you're definitely going to appreciate is the fact that you can go through and pick out your Gundams and basically make a favorite list. Now, as far as the in-game visuals, it certainly takes some time to get used to. There are definitely some on-screen guides to help you with your surroundings. One of the ones in particular was a circle in the center that helps you monitor both your players and opponents on the field. when you're about to be attacked, you have these arrows to kind of let you know that you're being engaged. So, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, like I said, it definitely takes some getting used to. So in terms of gameplay, Gundam is using the arena style that is synonymous with the series. As I stated before in my previous first look, I believe that this is the Versus series that made it popular for fighting games. Movement definitely plays a huge role in this game. It has a four-way dashing system, and it also has air movement as well. And this latest Gundam Versus series actually adds a new mechanic known as Boost, which increases that movement. So it actually lets you cancel attacks and actions, and now it seems to add a lot more air movement as well, so that you can basically go up and then basically come back down like really fast using this new mechanic. So it definitely adds a lot more to those who are basically coming back, that are veterans of the series. Just based off this alone, I could kind of understand now why a lot of the competitive players really like this game. I think one of the big things about the Gundam Versus series in general is the fact that it features team play. This is something that hasn't really happened in fighting games too much. I think what's really going to add a lot of depth to this game are the assists, as you have to really, take the time to figure out which one is going to benefit you the most. Some of them, of course, have long range attacks. Others kind of get in close, need to get in close in order to make attacks. And those are the two basic types of assists, but there are definitely a lot more that work kind of a little bit more unorthodox, I guess, if you want to say it that way. So that's definitely a part of the game that seems to have a lot of importance. So I guess you guys want to hear a little bit about the online experience. I definitely tried to get in a few matches when I had the chance. Well, I actually tried out two modes. One was Ultimate Battle, which was a co-op mode where you take on waves of incoming enemies. This mode definitely gives me idea that, new players can definitely appreciate this mode. I mean, of course you have the team element of gameplay, and I think this can definitely get you started in the right direction about thinking about how you would go about your strategies with having another person on your team. I also tried the 3 vs 3 online mode just to see how well the online netcode would hold up under those circumstances, which leads me to the online play. So my online experience was pretty good. The game seemed to run smoothly. Things didn't really get laggy until I did the 3 vs 3 online mode, but it seemed to run normal just after a few seconds, so the experience wasn't really that bad. I don't really know what kind of netcode they're using. I know for Namco Bandai that they usually use input delay, but who knows exactly what method they're using to make this all work. But from what I've seen, it seems to be working well. So that's pretty much it for my experience with Gundam Versus. I definitely would like to spend a lot more time with this game. Unfortunately, I'm definitely not going to be getting this day one because I'm purchasing another title, unfortunately. Ultimately, I really do want to get into this game. I do think that it really does have a lot of depth to it to keep you engaged. If you're a fan of the series, of the anime, you've never played this game, I definitely think this is a must-have title. Gundam Versus will be available on the PlayStation 4 at the end of the month on September 29th. So that is it for this episode of First Look. At the moment, we're definitely at the mercy of the developers. Our fingers are crossed on getting the Dragon Ball Z Fighters beta, which is supposed to come around this time of the video. Certainly more titles are on the way, which means a lot more potential first looks are definitely going to be happening sometime this year. We definitely have some more game reviews coming, so hopefully by next month you should see those up. So definitely, be on the lookout and stay tuned.